Hello viewers and welcome to another Doctor Who episode review. Today I'm reviewing Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. So this episode is a historical episode. I usually like them. And this was about Nikola Tesla. And he was a genius behind electronics and electricity and lots of different inventions. And he was a man who didn't make any money from his inventions, and nobody really knew anything about him before this episode. I don't think, anyway. And obviously Thomas Edison is the more well-known one, as he is known for inventing the light bulb. But I think Nikola Tesla was the one who actually did it. He was the one just before Thomas Edison, if you know what I mean. Anyway, this episode, I thought this episode was solid. I thought it was solid. I thought it was really good. I mean, anything would be better than Orphan 55, but I do think this as a standalone episode is a really good episode, and some I've heard consider it to be the best of the series so far. And I see why they put that. I see why they think that. I do think this is really solid, and I don't think there were anything. The pacing were great. There were no rushing towards the end, and the story made sense. And before, I didn't really know anything about Nikola Tesla. I heard of him, but I didn't know anything about him until this episode. So that explained it well as the story being not bad. So we start off with, Nikola Tesla and I can't remember the woman's name now who we were with, but with them two, and they were getting chased by something, and it ends up being it, and they come in possession of this green orb sort of electronic device. And obviously the Doctor's looking for the same thing. And then there's a little bit on the Mummy on the Orient Express, that type of thing. I didn't really get the bit of the Orient Express, why they were all on there. But, it weren't a big part of the episode. It didn't affect the story in any way, so I'm not bothered. I suppose it's a transition from that early scene to the scene in the Edwardian period in New York. And then we get to see Nikola Tesla's sort of workshop, which it doesn't look much, but he says that obviously it keeps everything in his brain, as opposed to Thomas Edison, where he's got workers working all the time, working on his plans for electricity and light and all that sort of stuff. So it was quite good to see that contrast there. And I thought the character of Nikola Tesla were really, really good, really acted out. I really felt the emotions of the character of wanting to be known as the person who would change the world with electricity. I really liked that sort of dream, sort of characteristic of that character. And then the Doctor takes the green orb and says it. Oh, I can't remember what she said now, but it's something to do with another planet, another being, and then they find that Silurian gun. Obviously, that's from another alien race, and the reason I call it alien, Silurians are aliens. I know they're from Earth, but because they're not human, they're not our species, to me they are aliens. So that counts for Silurians, Sea Devils. Silurians are aliens. I'm just going to put that out there, because some people don't think they are for some reason. But anyway, yeah. So we've got this orb sort of thing and the Silurian gun. And then we go over to see Thomas Edison, and he's a completely different personality to Nikola Tesla. He's more upper class and more pompous, and all he wants is to change the world and have lots and lots of money and become a millionaire and have loads of investments and loads of stuff and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's quite good to see them different personalities. I don't know what they were like in real life. I haven't researched, but if that is what they were both like, I thought, it's quite good to see. And then we get the bit where these creepy humans with the red eyes, I'm guessing the scorpions, but in disguise as humans. But I found them really creepy, and I thought they were really good aliens. The way they moved and the actual look of them. They looked like, dead people, but brought back to life by this alien. I thought they were really, really good. And I thought, with the whole quest of trying to get Nikola Tesla on board the Skintha ship, I thought that was good because I liked the idea of the Queen Skintha. I liked the idea of a creature who steals off other things, like the Silurian gun. I liked the wanting to actually nick a human, nick Tesla. I quite like that idea because I don't think we've had that before. Usually the creatures make their own ship at least and have their own weapons, but this was different. This was like stealing, which I quite like the idea of. And we obviously get the bit inside the Skintha spaceship, and we see them scorpion-like creatures. We see the Queen herself, and I don't think she's anything like the Arachnos, like everyone's making out. I see where they get the resemblance with the scorpions and obviously the Arachnos spider sort of thing, but they're completely different species and they do completely different things. Like the Arachnos made her own sort of spaceship because that was her web, and this Skintha was obviously stole her spaceship and just that sort of thing really. So I don't know why people are still comparing the Skinthas to the Arachnos. But anyway, we get the bit, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but we get to the final bit, which is obviously the wanting to get rid of the Skinthas and, from taking humanity and from taking Nikola Tesla. So I like the way they did that with, thinking of how they can do it, and obviously they did it with electricity. And I like the way that was done, and I liked the sort of like the tension between, come on, electrocute because the Queen's still on board, but then no, she's not on board anymore. And I thought that, God, it got to me a bit, that did, and I liked that. And then obviously we get the bit where the Doctor gets all good and big and all that, and sends the Queen back on a ship, and Nick Tesla, electrocutes her and the ship and all that sort of stuff, and that race, I'm guessing, has been completely wiped out. And I liked that, It's it's a solid sort of ending to the episode. I'm glad it wasn't rushed, and I like the idea of actually getting two sort of like electricians like Nick Tesla and Thomas Edison, and actually destroying an alien species with electricity. I thought that was a nice touch. I mean, how else would they do it? What else to say about the episode? Obviously, we had Graham, with his jokes. I don't know if I'm starting to get irritated by them now. I mean, I like the AC/DC joke. I found that quite hilarious. But, nearly in every scene or in every other scene, Graham always says a joke, and I kind of expect that to happen now, and it's not as unexpected as it was in the beginning. I mean, I don't mind his jokes, but I just expect they're just predictable, apart from the AC/DC. I thought Ryan in this episode wasn't. It took a step back. Like, all of last series, it was basically Yaz, who we didn't really get to know as much, and she was the one who stepped back. But I think in this episode it was Ryan, and I thought it was Graham in the last episode, who didn't get much of a part. I mean, all three of them were really good in this episode, but I thought he was the one who didn't do as much. I thought Yaz did a solid job again. She's becoming her own companion. You can see a police sort of skills with talking to people and all that stuff starting to come through. I mean, I've heard people again say, there's an alien there and all that. She's got this police training. Why didn't she do anything? She is an ordinary human being, and she's seeing an alien in front of her. She's not going to do any sort of police sort of like takedowns or anything. But I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, I don't mind her now. She's getting to be more of, a useful companion to have. But it seems, in every episode, there seems to be all three of them. Well, out of the three of them, there's always one that takes a step back and doesn't have much of a part in the episode. I think that's the case apart from Spyfall, as all three of them were basically together and all three of them were doing something. But, it makes me think who's going to be left out next episode and the episode after. But it's really difficult, obviously, to write for three companions. That's why there should be one or two, really. But anyway, yeah, I thought the episode overall were really good. I'm glad it wasn't a disappointment like Awful 55, aka Where's Benny, aka the actual episode name, Orphan 55. But yeah, I'm excited for the next episode, which is Fugitive of the Judoon. I mean, it sounds good. It'll be a solid episode if executed well. And, by next week we'll have already been through half of the series already. It seems to be going quick. And then obviously 5 more episodes after that are linking into the finale. And, yes, I've seen the Coming Soon trailer. Looks really good. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to get too carried away with that. Yep, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Solid episode. And, yeah. That's all I've got to say. Bye.